Hi everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
everybody.
So today we're talking about the Avengers. That's right.
And maybe Civil War if we have time.
Dun, dun,
Yes,
dun,
as an honorary
dun,
mention, we may do Civil War
dun,
because we all
dun.
agree that it should have been a Marvel movie.
No, we don't all agree.
We all agree that
We
it should
don't
have
all
been.
agree. It's not an
We
Avengers.
we all agree that it shouldn't have been a Captain America movie.
Yes, I'll agree on that, but I
There
won't
we
call
go.
it an Avengers movie.
It should have been though. So we're going to be talking about the Avengers movies, um, specifically the ones that were called Avengers, not just the people who were part of the Avengers. We considered that, but that would be way too long a podcast. Um, and basically saying where we stand on them in terms of ratings and likings and uh, potentially giving our own little ranking list.
Can I ask you all a question though? When it comes to the
Yes.
first Avengers movie, everyone, this is basically the Star Wars of our time. At least the first Star Wars. Everything changed after the first Avengers movie. Do you recall where you were when you watched it? How you were?
Yes.
What were you like?
I fucking loved
How
it.
excited were you?
So it was a Friday. I'd been bugging my dad for weeks to go see Avengers. I wanted to see it on the first day. And so on Friday I get home and my dad's like, "Get in the car." And I'm like, "No fucking way." And he's like, "Get in the car." And I'm like, "Yeah." So we go and we get like pretty much the last two seats, but they were good seats. And I remember just being with this like huge crowd of people, and sharing an experience like no other with them, where we were cheering all together, we were laughing all together. It was just crazy, and it's the first Avengers, no less. So it was just
I
such.
re I remember, I pretty sure I either saw it opening night or the night of.
Mhm.
No, opening night. Yeah, opening night or the day after. And then I remember, and then the next day I saw it again. So I
Nice.
saw it twice in theaters. I was so excited. I still jumped the first time I saw them all line up together.
Oh yeah.
Still my favorite MCU moment. Like, I don't think anything came close to topping that for me. What about
It was.
I so I was very excited, but I think that the adults in my family were even more excited than me.
Damn.
I'm dead serious because my uncle wanted to see a movie like this since he was a kid and he read comic books. So he took me. We got AVX seats, which are reserved seats with surround sound. It's great. Not as great as IMAX, but anyway.
AVX is
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and the movie blew my mind. I thought it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to become one of my favorite superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
Jack?
So I remember going to the theater for sure. Probably like launch weekend. I believe I was with my dad. I just remembered that scene, as Spike mentioned before, when they line up, the smiles on everyone's faces it was the most incredible like movie theater experience ever. It was just so like, I don't know, it was insane.
Next
So,
level.
if you don't mind, I'd like to read just a quick little thing. First Avengers was May 4th, 2012.
hmm
It had a budget of $220 million. It made 1.519 billion,
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
and it has a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 69 on Metacritic.
Oh,
What?
And it featured the song "Live to Rise" by Soundgarden.
Actually, you guys are talking about like best moments, and while I admit, the lineup made me shit my pants. There's There's just one scene that I remember the most in my first watch, which is when Hulk takes Loki and smashes him on the ground.
Oh yeah,
Puny
It was
god.
just like Hulk. I
that
love
was
it.
like that was the funniest part of the movie, I would say.
I think it's
Definitely.
the best representation of Hulk in the whole MCU, honestly.
Yes.
Yep.
But let's not get into that.
It's funny because it's the only movie.
I remember so many people talking about it, like, "Oh, I want to see more Hulk after the Avengers." Too bad.
Yeah.
I think it's still my favorite MCU movie just because on a level of enjoyment, it's so easy to go back into. It's such a almost perfectly paced movie, and it's a
Agreed.
non-stop thrill ride.
Yeah.
There
100% agreed.
there are very few movies where I could say with like almost absolute confidence that I could watch that almost every day and still enjoy it. And the first Avengers makes that list.
And I gotta hand it to the writers because just how they gave every big superhero like this, nothing ever came close. The X-Men always focused on Wolverine, 80%.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like a little bit more to Tony, but not by
Yeah.
too much. So it felt like everyone was important and everyone had their moment to shine,
Which is
unlike
is
in later films.
it's something
Perfectly
I 100%
balanced, you
agree.
must say.
Yeah, I agree with you there because that's a problem I have later on in Avengers films. That just feels like Tony and Cap are the main characters and everyone else is kind of a support.
And Thor.
Yeah.
But I do see what you mean because it's
Yeah.
after Civil War, it basically just becomes, whose side are you on, Iron Man or Captain America, which was
It's
completely
not even a
stupid.
side thing; it's just like a focus thing.
Yeah, no, but
Like-
that's where it stemmed from because
Yeah.
it's the idea that like the fans have picked a side now, and so the future movies should have this like feud
think
almost.
I also think it's because we just got so many characters later on, whereas this movie had 6, I believe, in total.
6 and
So
and one of them's
6
MIA
and
for
the
like
30 or something in Infinity War are completely different.
it's like 6 characters, and Hawkeye is MIA for like 80% of the movie.
Not MIA.
Yeah,
He's
it's
just
true, but nobody really
a
gave
bad
it.
guy for a while. Which I honestly,
Yeah.
you know what? I really like that because like in any other situation, they could have just made Hawkeye like this side character that nobody liked, which I would have fucking hated because Hawkeye is honestly such a great character in the comics.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did give him that special position as like the enemy and said this is what Hawkeye can do, I thought that was brilliant. Like he almost single-handedly took down the helicarrier, and like we wouldn't have got that if he wasn't made like a villain for the longest while in the first Avengers. It's like it just would have been Iron Man, Cap, Thor doing all of the real shit while Hawkeye just like sat back and shot. So I thought that was just a really great thing that they did with his character.
Just realized the light of Glitch's screen is reflecting onto my face, so it looks like I'm getting gamma rayed.
I've noticed that. Yeah. Speaking of Hulk,
Guys,
uh-huh.
Loki. Sorry.
I think Tom Hiddleston as Loki is the greatest MCU villain.
So good. Yeah. Definitely.
Perfect cast.
Yeah, perfect
choice.
casting.
I think
remember
he's
it.
great. I think Thanos is better, but that's a discussion later on.
I like Thanos. I don't think he was better than Loki. Like I do think he was portrayed really well, and I like the stuff that he did, but it was also just like, Loki was the movie. Thanos was not as much. It was like it was kind of his name that was scary,
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
Loki was like, look at all this shit I'm doing, and Thanos was just kind of like, bam, stay down.
Thanos is more of a presence. Loki's just fun to watch.
Exactly.
He's the character.
Exactly.
Look, it's kind of like
Yeah.
watching the Joker. It's just like, look at him up. Do you remember that Comic-Con before the movie when they were announcing the cast, and Josh Whedon was like, okay, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow, and he was like, and returning as the Hulk, Mark
Wasn't it-
Ruffalo, and everyone was like, what do you mean returning?
Wasn't
Yeah.
it Wasn't it
It was,
Robert Downey Jr. who said that?
It was Robert Downey Jr. who said that. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like everyone in the audience was just so confused, and they were like, "What the fuck?" We thought it was Ed Norton.
Yeah.
So were you guys hyped after that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
after watching the movie, you wanted another one right away? Because I know I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny,
That was
I actually, it's not, it didn't come to my mind immediately. I was so content with what I had.
Really?
Like,
I
and
agree with
I knew,
that,
I knew regardless because there's a post-credit scene that, and we'll get into the fact that Thanos changes color schemes with every post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But, I already knew there was more coming just because of that, and I was just so happy this turned out well. Because this
Mhm.
movie could have been a monumental disaster.
Yeah.
It's true. I feel like it was also a little bit like, I was 12. I feel like if I watched Avengers now, like if all that happened and we just saw Avengers like 3 days ago, I'd be like, that was probably the peak.
Yeah. I
Because
still think it's the peak.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean that's the thing. It kind of was. So I'd be excited for a second one, but you'd have to expect that the second one's going to be Age of Ultron.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know Iron Man and Captain America were Paramount. Was Avengers the first Disney published Marvel movie?
That
Was it?
uh,
Look it up.
you want me to fact check that?
Please
Yeah,
fact
do
check
it.
Okay,
Because
give me
I
a
know
minute.
they all started as Paramount, and Paramount was like, okay, we kind of got to sell all these. Sony was just like, yeah, we just want Spider-Man.
Seems pretty early for that.
I don't think they knew what they were doing.
I mean, hey, they did a really good job for that.
Paramount.
Paramount, I don't think they actually had like a plan in place, even though they planted those seeds with the end of the first Iron Man movie.
Mhm. Such a good movie.
I love the first Avengers, just that whole battle for New York thing.
Yeah.
That whole, and even
That-
the.
That
Sorry,
like
Jack?
ending, but that like ending battle scene,
Yeah,
and like I was just that's
and I think the CGI still holds up.
The
Yeah.
what?
The CGI still
CGI.
holds up, which is funny because you look
It
at
does.
you look at a movie at Ragnarok and you see those like undead soldiers and you're like, ah, what the fudge? What
do
am I
you
looking
mean?
at?
Wait, you like they were bad or?
They were bad.
Oh,
When Hela goes down and summons the soldiers, and like she breaks off the Odin monument to be real, like it's actually evil, and
yeah,
she
yeah.
summons those groups. That CGI is awful.
So,
Interesting. I was too focused on.
Avengers. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Go for it.
So Avengers would have been the first movie made directly through Disney, but Paramount made the previous movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although Disney owned it by the time of Thor.
Oh.
Thor Ragnarok.
No, like the
Like,
original Thor.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah,
You could definitely
so,
sense the tonal shift.
100%. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's not too much in Avengers 1. I feel like it's a perfect balance of comedy and allowing for
Yeah.
dramatic weight, whereas something like the second movie is a little
So let's get into
all over
that.
the
Let's get
place. Yes,
Age of
100%.
Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
The movie that broke Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Poor dude.
I will say though, speaking of like just villains, while he wasn't written incredibly well, I do think the performance of Ultron was fantastic.
I love
His
Yeah,
voice
Vader.
fit.
Yeah.
His
I love
voice fit so well.
I love Robert California.
Yeah, honestly.
Um,
And the hype for that movie was just as insane to the first, in my
I'll-
opinion. Like,
I'll say I don't actually mind Age of Ultron. It
it's
has a
not a bad
lot of
movie.
it
Like,
has a
it's
lot of
still
problems, but I can
yeah.
rewatch it very easily.
It's definitely a good movie. It's just that there are a lot of faults in it
Yeah.
that were really disappointing after the first Avengers. Like fucking
Sun's going down.
Quicksilver.
Sun's going down.
Oh,
Sun's going down real low. Oh my god. Dumbest fucking romance ever.
And I feel that's the
Oh.
most Joss Whedon thing in there, because that felt like it was a scrapped Buffy the Vampire Slayer plot line. It's
Mm.
like, I'm gonna apply it. I'm gonna have the beautiful human girl with the monster.
Awful.
Yeah, and Hulk was just
So bad.
awful in that movie in general, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He
well,
had
that
nothing but
was the
going for him. He was a plot device.
it was the start of his decline.
Yeah.
And
What a rapid decline.
and they had such a good opportunity to do Planet Hulk, but they gave it to fucking Thor, and they made him a little bitch. Sorry, I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah, we're not talking about Ragnarok today.
We're not talking about Hulk. We're not talking about Ragnarok. I'll calm down.
But going back to what you were talking about before, I love Ultron.
Mm,
Like his plot makes like his plan is like really poorly thought out
yeah.
Yeah.
for someone who's supposed to be like a mega genius. But again,
Also-
he's such a character.
Just gonna put this out there. It wasn't Bruce Banner and Tony who made Ultron. It was actually supposed to be Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they didn't have that yet.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
think the excuse they like the way Ultron was made was fine for this universe.
Oh, definitely.
My
Yeah.
big problem with the movie is it is the most
It was more like
sequel-baiting
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, and that's why he
Yeah,
quit
like
Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
It's like you can make whatever movie you want, but you can't do this. You can't do this. You have to plot Ragnarok, Infinity War, blah blah blah. And he's like, guys,
Black Panther, everything.
I can't make a movie here.
Yeah.
You've put me in a corridor and there's punching bags along the way.
And honestly, like, not just for Josh Whedon's sanity, they should have given Ultron the attention that it deserved. Like, he's such a baddie in the comic books and in the TV shows, and he could have just been like such a real threat, even one
Yeah.
that could have come back later, but they just really fucked it up because like Josh.
He's a villain of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And he really shouldn't be. I mean, it's fucking Ultron.
Yeah.
He's able to literally take over the world
Hmm.
I remember
in seconds.
the first time I watched it, the only thing that caught me off guard was Vision. I was like, how did you, what? Like, we're watching it now, I get
Gotta
it.
get that stone in there for the third movie.
Yeah.
I
And the
think
fourth.
he does have one of the best lines in the movie where he's like, well, I was born yesterday.
What about you forgot this?
Yeah. Casually picks
Oh
up
yeah,
Thor's
that was
hammer.
great.
Mm.
I didn't think, what is it, Bolivia, where they end up in the end?
Yes.
Somewhere like, I thought that battle was cool, not as cool. To quote, I'm gonna steal from Honest Trailers here. The shield helicarriers are basically the eagles from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Helicarriers are here.
Going back to Vision, I'm actually really glad they put that in. Because that was like the most canon part. Vision is the one who destroys Ultron.
Right.
I did
Yeah.
really appreciate that, and it was a good way to introduce the character. Also, fucking Hulkbuster, man.
Go to sleep.
Oh
go to
yeah,
sleep,
that
go to
was
sleep.
yeah.
really cool to see
Sleep.
in live action.
Incredible.
Yeah, they did that really well. I thought the scene right before that, though, with the whole Scarlet Witch House of M
Oh,
plotting
yeah.
was like, just save it for House of M.
Wait, what do you mean?
When she kind of switches their realities, and Captain America's put back into 1940s for a little bit to dance with Peggy.
Yeah, I did like that.
Hmm.
I like Scarlet Witch. I'm not hugest.
I don't
like,
think she has a lot to do in Age of Ultron though.
No,
honestly.
her and Quicksilver don't do shit.
Yeah, no. Well, Quicksilver gets shot,
Yeah, Quicksilver's marked for death so early.
which was
Because they were
okay.
like, the Fox is better.
Yeah.
The Fox
So-
one's better.
So fucking stupid. Quicksilver could have picked them up. He's fast enough. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. What? So,
Mm-mm. So yeah. But the hype for these movies didn't die down after that, even though Age of Ultron was not the best film,
hmm
the hype
Well-
only grew, in my opinion, afterward.
When was
And grew and grew.
hold on, Age of Ultron?
Well, it's also because
was-
like even though you had Age of Ultron, which wasn't as great, the hype still built off of the individual movies. You know?
Yeah, and the promises of what would come
yeah,
were like,
so Age of
wow.
Ultron was so there's a 3-year gap between each movie, besides
about right.
Infinity War and Endgame. Because Age of Ultron was 2015,
Um,
and then Infinity
Avengers.
War was 2018.
Yeah. And then Endgame was 2019.
Yeah, Endgame was right after.
So
2012, 2015, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Yep. So anything more to say about Age of Ultron?
Yeah,
honestly,
Thor's hot tub of
Sorry.
time was kind of weird.
oh yeah, bring up a serious Ragnarok rather than the one we got.
He just goes in that hot tub and he starts flipping out. He's like, I know what's coming. And he might as well just turn to the viewer and just go like, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Another thing about Age of Ultron is I don't feel like any particular Avenger really stood out. Except for maybe Hawkeye and that's his whole family thing.
Oh yeah, I like that.
But no one really like got the spotlight in this one. And I don't know if that's just because balancing or that's just because it's just very unremarkable. Like none of them have like great individual plots, I guess.
Actually, I have to kind of disagree with you there. I think that's where it started to show the Iron Man Captain America dispute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was yeah, you're right. That was planned.
So
in,
it's like exactly. So like you did have
break the
like other
log open.
characters who had some spotlight, but there was definitely a like a inner story brewing, and not only that, but then you also had characters who weren't as portrayed, namely like Hulk.
Black Widow doesn't do shit in that whole movie.
Black Widow does not
Yeah.
do anything in that movie. Hawkeye is pretty much a plot point. Like, yes, he has the family thing, but that family thing, as we know, is really kind of just meant to.
Oh, I just got a running
yeah,
out of
how'd
time.
you do that?
I didn't do anything.
Hmm?
We don't have 40 minutes anymore. Like we
Oh.
have infinite time.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
Don't know how that happened, but thank you, Zoom. Thank you.
Sweet.
This is
Okay,
not
no
sponsored. but-
worries then. We can talk about Civil War.
Mhm.
Ah.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. And so Hawkeye was really just like kind of set up for Endgame. So it was
Yeah.
it was really like
Yeah,
Iron Man and Cap at that point.
because Hawkeye's not in Infinity War.
Nope.
No.
But he is in
No.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Barely. He doesn't really do much.
Well, nobody really does anything in Civil War.
Except for Iron Man, Cap, and Black Panther.
Yep.
And even then, Black Panther.
And Bucky. And Bucky.
Oh, and Bucky. Bucky's
That
great
movie
in that movie,
spawned
actually.
so much fan fiction.
But you know what? I actually, I'm gonna switch topics here, but I really love Civil War. I think it's one of the best MCU movies, in my opinion. It nails a lot of things. It does what it wants to get done by focusing on the characters it wants to, and because it's not called an Avengers film, it doesn't have to focus on everyone.
Wait, you're talking about Civil War?
Yeah.
Yes, but I think the biggest issue with it was that Civil War from the comics was supposed to be more of everyone. You know what I mean? Because it was never really supposed to be like the Captain America show, even though he was a very, very big focus of it. It was really like it was Spider-Man. Spider-Man played a huge role in Civil War. He literally reveals his identity, and that's such a big point in it.
And then he's like, nope, I want to go back.
But it wasn't even really a Captain, like,
Yeah.
it was
I
a little
don't
bit
call it
more
a
toward the
Captain
edge of
America.
Captain America, but only because it had his name on the front.
Yes. Well, no, because then it kind of went. It was like 50% Civil War and then 50% a Captain America movie. Like the ending is a great example of that because it just kind of goes like Civil War is a problem, but now we have to go kill these Russian super soldiers, which is like completely out of nowhere.
But that it's supposed to be like that to throw you off, only for the Cap and Iron Man fight
Yeah.
to happen at the end.
At the Cap, and then at the end, Caps just gets that letter. No, sorry, Tony gets that letter from Cap. It was just like, by the way, we're actually just we're cool.
But they weren't really because of Infinity War. It's like, well, not really. But yeah, I just thought because it sought out to do certain things, it wasn't meant to be a perfect adaptation of the storyline. It was meant to forward the character momentum and the storyline of the MCU.
Definitely. I did like the movie. I didn't think it should have been called Civil War, but I do think that
money.
yes, yeah, no, definitely.
I thought it should have been called Airport Scene.
Yeah. I will say this though. That was the most terrified I've ever been in a Marvel movie. The fight between Cap and Iron Man, I was on the edge of my seat. I was so fucking horrified when Cap was slamming his shield into Iron Man.
Yeah.
I my heart stopped. So I will say, like, if that whole movie, the fact that whole movie was just leading up to that moment was good enough for me. Like, that was just so intense.
Smaller thing, for me personally, my favorite superhero ever, period, and will always remain this way, is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him on screen with all the other MCU heroes for the first time, it was the closest thing they had ever gotten since the first Avengers feeling for me. Because it was so, like, surreal.
For the next
to
podcast,
see.
can we just talk about Spider-Man? Just the
Sure.
I agree with you there. Spider-Man's I love Spider-Man so much, and not only I think the way they introduced him, not just the Under Roost thing, but pre-killed Uncle Ben, already knowing that he's a thing in the universe. We don't have to go through any of that. It's a different type of origin story. It's more okay. We've gone through the ropes. Now it's just like, who are you as Spider-Man? And let's figure that out.
So, fun fact. I think I've told you guys this. Maybe not Jack, but as a kid, my parents were called into the principal's office at the kindergarten that I was at, and they were like, "We have a problem. You see, your son. We think he's flipping the teachers off." And my parents are like, "What are you talking about?" And the principal goes, "He keeps doing this."
Yeah.
So that's to say how much I liked Spider-Man as a kid.
I used to, oh fudge! I used to play all the games.
Oh yeah.
Also, the
PS2
first time
Spider-Man games.
Yeah, they were great.
As soon as I learned Spider-Man was in Marvel vs. Capcom, I was like, I need this. But that's off topic.
The movie was also the first time we saw Black Panther on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I thought it was the best adaptation. I thought that Black Panther had more of a character arc in Civil War than he did in his own movie.
Fair. Honestly, very fair. Like, he had his father dying, having to do that, and not only that, but like at the end it does like a really nice 180 back to him where he actually forgives the person who killed his father. I think that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Really great character development, especially since like so much was going on. The fact that they were able to sneak in that plot line and introduce him really well. Fantastic.
Personally, I'm just okay with Civil War. I think it's like a 7 out of 10. I think it has one of the more significantly boring villains in the series.
And
oh my god!
It doesn't have the best pacing either.
No,
He did nothing.
Yeah,
Zem-
that's true.
Zemo's whole plan was, I'm gonna really intricately, but when you think about it, it's not really that intricate, try to make these two people kill each other, which there's no way my plot could fail.
They
And-
should have taken that out of the movie. Like Zemo should not have been there. Especially when like I honestly I don't feel that Zemo was the villain of the movie. I get that
think-
he's like supposed to be, but I think the real villain was just an inability to cooperate.
Yeah.
And
And
so
Zemo-
in that respect, I think that the villain was really like quite good. They just used Zemo's name to be like, haha.
And
But,
I think they did that just because Captain America, not Captain, Winter Soldier and Falcon, the Disney Plus show, Zemo was the first thing confirmed that he's returning.
Well, they
So I
gotta
think-
get all those characters out there, and I
Yeah.
hate the way that Disney does business in that way. But
Yeah.
that's a topic for another day.
Oh, should we go into an Infinity War?
I think it's about time we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big one.
Okay.
Sam, is there anything you want to say as a person who dislikes the movie the most here?
Look, it's an okay movie. I thought it was really underwhelming. I
Mhm.
didn't think any of the major scenes hit. I feel like it's the most MCU like quip kind of movie.
Oh yeah.
I thought I didn't enjoy the pacing. And I didn't think much mattered in the I thought they tried to replicate a lot of things like the Wakanda battle, and I didn't think that
Mhm.
hit as hard as they wanted it to be. I thought Thor was that plot was my favorite plot line in the movie.
Yeah, it was the best part of the movie.
Really
So,
amounted
definitely.
to nothing just because he ended up breaking the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking. To be fair, now that we have Endgame, we know how all of this connects back. But I'm
Mhm.
just talking about when I went to see Infinity War, and what I knew of just that individual experience. Because now
Mhm.
I know that Stormbreaker might have meant a little more. I still don't think it does, but
Not really.
But I feel like if there's one thing the movie did well, it's its villain, or as some people would
Thanos.
call him, the protagonist of the movie.
he is the
'Cause
protagonist of the
he-
movie.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
Thanos did nothing.
No, but he is the protagonist of the movie.
He is.
It's the one. He is the one that the movie follows the most, and then Iron Man, and then Thor.
And I
Mhm.
think Josh Brolin's performance as Thanos, he has the perfect voice for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the opening of I will say the opening of that movie is very effective. It just kills Loki.
Yeah, that was. I mean, killed
No
Loki, but that's
resurrections.
Oh no,
Yeah,
we
no,
know we know he's back now because of Endgame, but
yeah.
Mhm.
whoops.
Yeah, that kind of felt inconsequential, but no, but I have to agree with Sam. Like the movie itself kind of felt inconsequential. Nothing really happened. I mean, like it's really interesting for the people who
ending is the only real thing that happened.
I don't even think it's the ending. I think it's the like that movie was only consequential because of the first 10 minutes of Endgame where you basically see how these people's lives went for 5 years. But like the Infinity War itself, it was a really cool movie. It definitely had some like really fucking awesome scenes to watch where you saw like Thor getting Stormbreaker, you saw him coming to Wakanda. Fucking my favorite moment was when you see Captain America for the first time.
Yeah.
Beard.
It's so good.
Old man Cap.
But nothing really happens.
So I have two little tangents. They kind of correlate into each other.
Yeah. go for
One,
it.
this is the first movie where Disney purposely edited the trailer.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
And first of all, I hate that as a business practice
Uh-huh.
because then you realize, what was I hyped for?
Mhm.
The things I were hyped for in the trailer are not in the movie. So I kind of feel like, did I just get catfished?
Seeing as we have the time, let's talk about the big green giant in the room of that
so
movie.
that was the second tangent. Thor is literally slapdashed into the movie. He just falls from the
Thor?
sky and sorry, not Thor, Hulk. Bleh. Hulk, it literally just falls from the sky, makes like a Beatles reference for some reason, and
Glitch
that's
wants to
it.
talk so bad.
And that's it.
Glitch.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Hulk's one of my favorite fucking characters. And they could have had a fucking awesome Thanos fight, but no, he just had to get his ass kicked. And then they could have had a fucking awesome fight where he fought the big guy with Squidward. That would have been fucking awesome. Then
Squidward's in the movie.
fucking
Yeah, Squidward.
after they did him so wrong in Ragnarok, they had to do this shit. What the fuck is Hulk being scared? Hulk's never been fucking
So
scared.
they deconfirmed that.
I know, but then what the fuck? Where was he? Where the fuck was Hulk? Why didn't he fucking come out? Why didn't fucking Bruce Banner have
see,
to use the
that's-
fucking stupid Hulk Buster? I mean, it's a fucking awesome thing,
Sun's
but
going
it's supposed to be
down.
fucking Iron Man.
Sun's going down.
Shut the fuck up, Black Widow. I don't like it.
So that
You know
that
what's the
goes
worst
back.
part though?
Yeah.
The worst part is that it was the one plot line that Endgame did not really resolve or show resolve.
No, it just fucking happens. I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I can do this now. And that goes back to the whole trailer editing thing. Because in the trailer, Hulk's in the book. It's the fucking thumbnail of the YouTube video. Hulk going forward in Wakanda.
Exactly.
If you put Hulk there, I'm really I don't, and they have no plans to make a Hulk individual movie or show.
Yeah.
We're getting She-Hulk first, which I'm kind of excited for, but that's besides the point.
That's great, but don't do another Hulk until you've done the first Hulk right.
No, you know what they should have done? They should have instead of having battling the Hulk, he turns into Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That'd have been good. So probably not the last thing, but I'll say it's the last thing because I hope it's the last thing. But the other thing is that Hulk is so fucking strong, and it what really bothers me is that they put Captain Marvel in, they made her this super overpowered character, and realistically, it's like they did that and they made Hulk not there so that she could be there, and she could be the new strength. But like Hulk is literally
At the time, we didn't. Captain Marvel came after. We didn't 100% know
Yeah.
that she was coming.
I know,
They
but
depowered Hulk because of it.
exactly,
set
so
that
that
up.
Captain Marvel could come in and just destroy everything. But like Hulk was supposed to be that at the very least. Make Thanos Thanos is already overpowered. Just make him able to stop Hulk, but do it right, do it properly, do it where his character actually has meaning, his character actually has value. He actually has character, and like Hulk is so strong. They never really showed his true potential. And that really killed me because they could have done that in Infinity War or Endgame, and they just didn't.
Yeah, the most we got out of it was in the first movie.
This is a character, exactly, and I loved him in the first movie. I absolutely die for him. But this is a character who, while calm as Hulk, not even angry, has held up all of New York and then let go of one hand and fought. Like, where was that? Where is the Hulk? The guy who got his namesake because he's just such a fucking monster. Anyway, I'm done. I'm actually done. I'm sorry.
The movie does have.
Yeah, but were you guys surprised by the ending of that movie?
No, because I had it spoiled before by Glitch, actually.
Really?
What? Huh?
I was at your house,
Yeah?
and you were with your ex-girlfriend over the phone.
Yeah?
We were watching that scene on like an illegal website. And I was like, what's that?
And I showed you, or what?
You didn't show me it, but I walked downstairs and you were watching it.
And I didn't spoil it. You went and came and watched.
You were sitting there. But joking aside, I knew that was going to happen regardless because
Same.
it's just it seemed kind of predictable. I think the way they did it was, I'm on and off about it. On one hand, yes, it was shocking, and on the other hand, it kind of just made there's two Peters, Spider-Man, way more significant than the rest of them, because he got the whole "I don't feel so good." Then everyone
Well,
else is just
but-
like, "Bye,
So-
guys."
He's Spider-Man.
That's what's wait, but that's what's so interesting about it. When you have to realize that he improvised that.
Yeah, he did improvise that.
So
Oh,
why
what?
is it? Yeah, he improvised that. So why is it that the best person to fade was improvised? Like at that point, it's just like they did it wrong. It's just fucking Tom Holland did an amazing job.
And
Yeah,
I
'cause he's a great Spider-Man.
He's
feel
such a
like
great Spider-Man.
the shot of Thanos sitting on wherever the fuck he is, watching the sunset. is,
Titan.
like,
Oh
cool.
yeah.
He's on Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it
was
was-
cool. It's just, and it just kind of ends. And I get it. Like, there's part 2.
I,
Like-
I actually like the way they did that. I thought it was because as if you think of it as Thanos being the protagonist, yeah, it would end from his perspective.
My problem is not it ending from his perspective. It's just it doesn't feel like there's an impact. The whole way it's done is just like, we're gonna do this so subtly to make you get like shocked. Like, why is this not being a bigger deal? Why is this not being a bigger deal? And it's like, I know it's because the Infinity War and Endgame, they were originally called Part 1, Part 2, and they still
Yeah.
are. And,
Yeah, definitely.
but
Mhm.
just as a movie on its own, it felt very like,
Part
Okay.
one.
was it.
Anticlimactic.
and it felt kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I do
It's
have
true.
one last complaint, and it's about the post-credit scene. Because when Nick Fury goes and he uses that we now know is the Captain Marvel hotline.
Yeah.
Why didn't he do that earlier?
Because it's stupid.
Plot.
That thing is meant for emergencies. You have the one thing she set out to look for.
Mhm.
Like, it's right.
Yeah. No, that was.
Then she should have been in the first Avengers movie, in which you wouldn't even need the Avengers.
And I feel like that, 'cause in the first Avengers, they probably didn't know Captain Marvel was a thing. Well, not a
Mhm.
thing, but like they didn't have that plotted out.
Of
By
course.
Infinity War, they did.
And they
Yeah.
should have known that it didn't make sense. Because, like,
But
any
also,
sane person would be like, oh, there's an alien attack, boom.
for I will take devil's advocate here because for Avengers, for example, Nick Fury seriously believed that the Avengers could cover it, and it was like kind of like he had faith in them. And even like there was that whole the thing with like the teleprompters where they were about to send a nuke to fucking New York, and Nick was like, "My guy's got it, man." That I think
PTSD.
that I think was a really important factor in terms of why Captain Marvel wouldn't have been called for that particular situation. And then you could argue the same with Age of Ultron, but then when it comes to Jesus Christ, when it comes to Infinity War, I think Nick Fury didn't play a big role in it. For all we know, he might not have known too much of what was going on. He wasn't in Wakanda. He at that point he was like kind of powerless in terms of the whole shield, considering it was torn apart. So I do think that was kind of like, holy fuck, people are disappearing. Shit's not going well. Let's hope that Captain Marvel's still alive.
So, were you all hyped for Endgame?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
Actually, no, ish.
Yes.
I was
For me.
I wasn't sour
But not
after Infinity
Incredibly.
War. I was just kind of like, I'm just, because I've never been one to like buy into the hype for movies. I'm just
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be excited, but like I'm not gonna let other people's hype dictate my opinion of the movie. So for Endgame, I was just like, go in as neutral as possible. I'll read the reviews, whatever. But like, I wasn't jumping up for joy for it, which ended up being beneficial because it was way. Just to be a little premature here, Endgame's a really good movie. Like just
Yeah.
as
Yes.
a movie, it's pretty good.
It's fantastic. I actually I learned from Spike in that respect. I remember I went for just movies in general. At one point, I just started going in with a completely neutral point of view, because realistically, if you put your hopes high, even if there's a reason to put your hopes high, if you're neutral, even when that happens, like it'll just like superbly surpass your expectation, and I think that's always a good thing to
And
do.
it is to be fair, it is really fun to watch everyone be excited.
Yeah.
That is an incredible experience. Watching the hype, watching other people be excited for the movie, is like I really hope that it turns out good for them.
Mm.
And being in that theater is quite an experience.
Oh yeah.
Getting those tickets was almost as hard as getting a PS5 now.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
it.
So, sorry.
I saw it. I believe it was the Friday. When did it come out again?
You saw it the day before us, Jack. We saw it
Yeah. So I saw it Friday. You saw it the next
We
day.
saw it
When
Saturday.
did it come out?
Mm.
It came
It came out
out
April?
2019.
April 26th.
Yeah, so we saw it
Yeah.
the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Spike, you were a little concerned though that it would be too long.
Yeah, I was concerned it would be too long. I still feel it is a little. It's not as too long. It's a slow burn. It's definitely a really
Mhm.
big slow burn,
Mhm.
and it's a hurdle. If you get over that hurdle, it is a treat of a movie. But the start of the movie is very much like, okay,
Yeah.
I know why you have
you got to put them down in the dumps.
Yeah.
So
like I know why you have to do this,
Mhm.
and I'm not mad that you're doing it, but like, because I couldn't think of a way around it, but that's still like, okay, let's just do this. Let's go.
Yeah, I think the hurdle was honestly a good thing.
Mhm.
Because like if that wasn't the case, it would be like what, like they're okay that half the world, half the universe is gone, and like picking each one up and seeing where they've been for 5 years. I think that absolutely needed to happen, and I think the movie really is what it is because of it. And that slow burn made the ending that much more impactful.
Although I don't think you needed this the support group scene.
I like
get
that
it.
scene.
I like it. Like it's a cute little scene, and it's funny that Anthony
Because
Russo's
Cap
there.
would do that.
Yeah, exactly. Cap would absolutely do that. He would want to like have a sense of community. He would. It makes sense because like he could talk through his personal like feelings towards it. I like that. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of community,
Ooh.
I'm convinced. I just want to go back to. I love how the Russo brothers put in like a reference to every show they've done. Like I'm gonna fuck up his name, Daniel Prudy.
Daniel
Putty, thank you. In
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, the Buster Bluth truck in Civil War,
Mm.
for Arrested Development, and then he's just like, okay, we're just gonna put them all in Endgame.
It was who was it? Yvette Nicole Brown was in Endgame.
And Chang,
Oh yeah, Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong.
Oh yeah.
He
Everyone
was the
but,
security guard.
everyone
Right.
but Joel McHale and Gillian Anderson and Allison Brie.
Gillian Jacobs.
Gillian Jacobs. I was confusing.
That's all good.
Also, the real hero of Endgame is the rat who freed Ant-Man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's
The
going to start
fuck?
the Disney Cinematic Universe, because that's actually Remy from Ratatouille.
Oh,
And I
Here we
figured
go.
it out, guys.
Yeah.
Where's my paycheck?
No. There is no Deus Ex Machina.
no, that was fully a design. I mean, like
Nothing.
it's fair that it took 5 years. You know what I mean? Like if it happened like the day after and a rat just suddenly do that, that would be kind of weird. But the fact that it took 5 years and then it was like boop, it kind of adds up.
I do like how even in the apocalypse, Paul Rudd is still Paul Rudd. It's like,
And then you have
whoa.
time travel. Time travel, of course.
You know what? I always am skeptical whenever someone brings in time travel to like a movie, or I think they did this, all things considered, pretty well. I think honestly, like the way that they handled the time travel was actually quite good, and I really appreciated that, because that for me like would have ruined a very large portion of the movie if they fucked it up.
And they literally said, like, practically to the audience faces, don't think about it too much. Don't worry about continuity. Try not to.
It's literally, when Tony figures out time travel, he's just like, cool, time travel.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so. It's like, what? I mean, he's fucking brilliant, but it was just kind of like, I did it. I saw, you know, that thing that like was. Well, here you go.
There's a lot.
And he has a kid now.
The first half of this movie is very much different than once they actually start traveling, because like you get the whole like scenes with Hulk, Ant-Man turning into a baby, and then an old man. He's like, I'm not sure which version of me pissed myself.
Okay, now I'm gonna go on a rant here for a little bit about Hulk. I'm sorry, Glitch, but I hate
Go for it.
when character arcs, even one as minimal as Hulk's, are done off screen. We don't see any dramatic, like, if they were gonna do that in Infinity War, at least have dramatic weight in Endgame. But no, we don't even see him have to go back and forth with Hulk.
Yep.
The other personality. We just, it's fine now. It's fine now. There was no point to anything then in Infinity War, and that's my least favorite part about Endgame.
Fucking bothered the shit out of me.
To leech off that for a second, I also feel because of that, Hulk's jokes just weren't funny.
No.
When he gets to New York and they're just like Hulk smash, he's just like, okay, yeah.
Like you're still the Hulk.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah.
I thought the sandwich thing with I think it was Rocket was kind of cool.
And then all he does is
The sandwich thing with Ant-Man, you mean?
It was Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Okay. Also,
Rocket was, but fuck nowhere.
But Tony makes Rocket was there for some reason. I don't know why.
He was?
Yeah, because Iron Man calls him Ratchet.
Oh my god, you're right.
That was the most random, most random reference ever.
Iron Man plays Ratchet and Clank, confirmed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's cool.
Oh, speaking of which, I know you love this. The dude.
The dude?
Spike.
Yeah?
The dude.
Oh, yeah, right. Thor.
Oh,
Think about
yes.
Thor was big. And, the amount of Noob Slayer 69 memes.
Noob Slayer.
Yeah, oh my god.
That was the favorite part of the movie, the funniest part.
That was the best. You can tell Taika Waititi directed that part.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, give me the
directed
camera.
and wrote that specific part.
So, we've gone through a lot of the beginning and what we liked. So,
Let's climax this.
yeah. So, what do you guys think of the really overall plot and how it ends?
So I just want to talk about the final scene in Endgame real quick.
Mhm.
Like the actual battle itself.
Yeah.
Anyone else see it? It was really cool. It's a little dragged out.
You thought it was dragged out?
I don't think so.
The whole
No.
the whole
no.
Nebula
No.
part.
Nope.
No.
I thought it was a
I
little
thought it was
dragged out.
perfectly paced, the battle.
Yeah,
Battle.
I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. Also, in terms of plot, what do you guys think about like Thanos hitchhiking off of the time travel thing? I thought that was a little bit. It was a
My
little
problem
cheap.
in the movie is that Thanos in Infinity War is depicted to have three-dimensionalism, whereas Endgame he's back to a two-dimensional character.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have been better. I know they didn't have a lot of time for a lot of things. That's why Hulk's plot got cut. But I feel like it would have been better just to add a few more minutes with Thanos and his more three-dimensional views.
Yeah, because the
in
Thanos
the movie, he's like just, I'm pissed.
because they bring him back to his tyrant form from pre-Endgame because of time travel.
I did find that,
Yeah, but like,
you know, I did find that pretty interesting that they did that. I mean, like, I didn't think he needed to be two-dimensional, but I did like that they like made him a tyrant again instead of they really showed that he didn't have that development that he would have had years later. But it was also
well,
just
what
kind of like,
development was
oh,
that?
Thanos is back. It was fine, I'll do it myself. Because he was still and you'll notice this. I saw it pointed out online, but I thought that was really really interesting. He was making other people do his dirty work. He was kind of two dimensional because in previous movies he was having people do his shit, and so it was before the point where he was like, fine, I'll do it myself, where he actually started, you know, building character by being the one to do all of his dirty work. So that was actually a pretty interesting thing that they like paid attention to in Endgame. He could have had more personality, I think, definitely, but it was a cool thing that they did.
But yeah, I thought the final battle was amazing, and when the portal scene happened,
Oh yeah.
when the portal scene happened, or
Avengers
when
Assemble.
On your
America
left.
got the hammer,
Yes.
holy crap!
I think they did the final battle perfectly. It was like build after
That was
build
a cool
after build
fight. I
after
just thought it
build.
was a little long.
Payoff, payoff, payoff. Look,
Yeah.
What did you guys feel about the
Okay.
wedding scene?
Um,
Wedding scene.
They told. 'Cause they told.
Oh
told
yeah,
him-
they told him that they were going to a wedding. Explain
Oh
it
my
the
properly.
funeral.
Oh,
The
yeah.
funeral. They told all the cast that it was a wedding,
Oh,
which is an awful thing to do. I think.
That-
Yeah. No, that's
I-
amazing.
Secrecy
I mean, it's
or not,
horrible,
that's
but-
kind of stupid.
and then somehow
Because they're gonna learn either way.
Tom hid the fact that Iron Man dies.
Yeah, Tom spoiled that they went to space in Infinity War. Tom spoils a lot of shit.
Yeah.
He spoiled the name of the movie.
Wasn't.
remember? Yeah.
Oh my
remember
god.
When,
Oh my god.
remember when he got the poster?
Do not
Yeah.
show this.
Yeah, confidential.
Yeah.
That was so cartoonishly funny.
No, but it was beautiful. Honestly, like that kind of shit is why I fully see him so well as the personality of Spider-Man.
Well, that's
Yeah.
just like that's a Peter
that's-
Parker thing.
That's so
Yeah.
Peter
Yeah.
Parker. That there's a specialty to that where he's just like, oh fuck, and then
Good.
And then he stops
Oh,
the
so-
live stream.
exactly,
Yeah.
so good.
Which is why he will be the only character I still very much care about going
Yeah.
forward after Endgame.
Oh yeah, the hype's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't really care anymore.
okay.
I mean, I'll still watch them, but like,
But here's
Yeah.
the thing: the two major endings were for Iron Man and Captain America. So let's start with
Mhm.
Iron Man because someone here felt big loss. with Iron Man.
What he's referring to is when the movie ended. I cried for 30 minutes. It was
I
about that.
don't blame you. That was heavy.
If I remember right, it was when it happened, past the credits. I was still crying when we left.
yeah, because they play the noise from the first movie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, at the end.
Yeah, the him making the armor.
hmm
Yeah.
Because
I felt really bad for everyone in that theater.
Can someone remind me what was Stan Lee's cameo in Endgame?
Oh yeah, he was a.
He was
hippie.
the soldier or something, or was he?
Wasn't he
He
in
was
when they go back to
The
when,
70s, and
America
he's
goes
in the
back,
car,
yeah.
and he's like, "Make peace, not war."
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that
um,
was a good one. Not his best though, but
Nah.
a good one.
My favorite. I don't know if I have because there's so
My
many
favorite
like
might be from Spider-Verse, honestly.
Spider-Verse.
yeah.
it's so good, and no, but it's like the reason why I love the Spider-Verse one so much isn't just because of what he says, but what he says considering that was the first cameo after he passed away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's crazy
You
because he
know?
actually has 2 cameos in the movie. We just found out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If he freeze framed the train.
yeah.
Oh.
But no,
Oh.
it's just like what he says is just so beautiful. like it'll fit later. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, and then there's
s-
a no refund sign.
yeah.
so what do you think of Iron Man's death? Do you think it was handled well?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it was the best
Okay.
part of the. Not to sound like an asshole. The best part of the movie is when he dies.
Whoa.
It no, they really did that well. Like with everyone and how they reacted to it, and especially Pepper. Um,
Yeah.
and it was very, very good. And so depressing.
I think Cap really got
Cap
the
got
way
the
the,
best
Cap-
the
ending.
way they ended the
Cap's ending
movie
was the
was
best.
fantastic. Just to end it on
Yeah.
the dance was like,
Yeah.
That like, because if you watch it in chronological order, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because his film was the first in the timeline, and that
Yeah.
promise of the dance being at the very end
Yeah.
of what really is the end of the MCU, in my opinion, the real end.
Yeah.
just poor Cap needs to
Hmm.
shut the fuck up, or else he could really screw up space and time.
Yeah.
You know what kills me though?
Don't go anywhere during these time periods.
You know what really kills me though?
What?
When you another thing I saw online, but when you put Iron Man and Captain America from beginning to end, you see that like because Iron Man had PTSD from Avengers, and it was like killing him because he always knew that he would, die that way. Like he didn't know that he was going to die exactly like that, but like he was so horrified that that would happen, and like he finally got the life that he wanted, and he was pulled back in just to die.
Yeah.
Whereas Captain America thought that he would never get that, and he was like,
Yeah.
trained to be a soldier and was always a soldier, and then he ended up getting that life that he, never thought he would, and it's just it's such a sad parallel.
I have two little thing. How do you guys feel about the two cut scenes from the movie? The one where they all kneel when he dies, when Iron Man dies, and the one
that was
where I don't know when they were gonna put. I think it was after he died, but they were gonna have like a flash forward with Iron. He was gonna talk to like a teenage version of his daughter.
Oh, right. That was the deleted scene.
The girl from 13 Reasons Why was the actress.
Yeah.
So the
Catherine
kneeling,
Ledford, I think.
the kneeling, I'm very glad they didn't put in. I think that would
Yeah,
have
me too.
dragged it along way too much, and I think
Mhm.
the funeral was definitely good enough for that, and
Yeah.
it was also more intimate to have Pepper do it anyway.
Yeah.
I think you know what, like a teenager moment of him and his kid. I think if it was showing like what he was thinking about in this last few moments, that would have been something beautiful.
Yeah, but I feel like it would have been a little too sappy.
Yeah.
It's like
It depends on
Yeah.
it depends on how
I
it's
get
written.
what they were going with, though.
I
the
think
way
it
that
depends
scene
on how it's
hits,
written.
the way that scene hits is just the right amount of gut punch.
Yeah, and I think instead of what they did instead of the teenager, where he just said "I love you 3000,"
Yeah.
in the hologram, I think that was really quite
Yeah.
well done.
Kind of crazy to think that this was all last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah, it
shit!
feels like a longer
Yeah.
time, honestly,
Because
because Endgame
2020
has
feels
become
so
so
fucking long
ingrained in
also.
our culture.
Yeah,
All of these movies have become so ingrained in our
Yeah.
culture. Like, we
Highest
grew
earning
up on
movie
these
ever.
movies and we talk about them.
Highest earning movie ever for Endgame.
Yeah.
And then James Cameron's like, Avatar 2. They had a good.
yeah, it's not gonna happen, buddy.
Yeah,
I don't think he realized nobody cares for that movie.
So we may not have gone
Ratings?
crazy in depth, but instead of ratings, what about rankings?
Oh.
I feel like that would be a little bit, yeah.
Ranking.
So, Josh, you want to start us off?
So yeah, my opinion is Age of Ultron at the very bottom.
Mhm.
I again, I thought the movie was too sequel baiting. After that, I would honestly have Infinity War, and then Civil War, and then the first Avengers film, and I really do love the ending and the payoff of Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what about-
what about you, Glitch?
Um, I would put Age of Ultron last. I would put I think fuck man. I think Civil War next, and then Infinity War. Finally, I think I would honestly do Endgame and then the first Avengers. As much as I love Endgame, like I in this whole year I haven't been able to watch it again because it's just so heavy.
Yeah.
And I think like compared to the amount of times I saw Avengers after, even in the first year, I've probably seen that movie like upwards of 20 times. It's like it's hard to say that I'd put a Endgame before like first, even though I love it so fucking much.
What about you, Jack? JBX?
So definitely at the bottom, Age of Ultron. Honestly, not the most memorable Avengers movie for me. Then I would say Civil War. I've only seen it like once, so yeah. And then this is hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh man. Oh God. I would say Infinity War next. And then top two, Endgame, and then the first Avengers movie.
All right, so I'm gonna go from top to bottom.
Ew, why?
Well, fuck you. I'll go from bottom to top then. I switch this all the time. Bottom, I'm gonna say between Civil War and Infinity War. Civil War,
Really?
Infinity War, between those two, I shuffle all the time.
Huh.
Age of Ultron, Endgame, and original Avengers on top.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
would
think
really put Civil War potentially below Infinity War and Age of Ultron?
I'm gonna say Infinity War and Civil War are tied. I shuffle between which one I like least.
Okay.
And by the way, even though I still think Infinity War and Civil War are like 7 out of 10s.
Yeah.
There are much worse MCU movies out there, and I still think they're decent.
Mhm.
But Civil War, I think I've fully watched twice, and every time I'm just like, okay, it's a very motion movie for me, just to watch. It doesn't, I don't get anything out of it.
Mhm.
I
That's fair.
already explained what I feel about Infinity War.
Mhm.
Age of Ultron is honestly, it's not a good movie. It's a decent movie. It's just a guilty pleasure.
Not a good movie.
Yeah.
I could watch it for Ultron.
Although I'll honestly say I find Infinity War to be a guilty pleasure movie as well. It's like, especially once Endgame came out, Infinity War, like we said, we kind of agreed it was a little bit inconsequential, considering it was just entirely build up for everything that would happen in Endgame. I just love seeing the fights.
Yeah.
You know?
For Endgame, I feel like Endgame's the most. It's the most like cinematic kind of thing since the first Iron Man. was just like-
I would not agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
Endgame to me isn't even a movie, because it doesn't really feel like one, nor try to be one, in my opinion.
Also, I mean,
It
Winter
tries to
Soldier,
be more of a
man.
comic book.
Winter Soldier. You're right. Winter Soldier is.
Winter Soldier is such a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Like through
Yeah,
and
Winter
through. It's
Soldier's a movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
it's not just a movie. It's a fucking fantastic one. It was like crazy.
But first
Definitely
Avengers.
top
Prefer
five.
Winter Soldier over Civil War.
Oh, 1,000%. Christ.
Yeah, it's such a good. It's
Nothing
one of
It's
my
a
exciting.
favorite
well-made movie.
MC Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Nothing excites me like the first Avengers. I don't think
Avengers 1 is a movie.
Yeah,
think any movie will ever unless it's like something so personally close to my heart is getting a movie. Like I don't know if they made like a Final Fantasy movie or something.
Mhm.
I don't think
Would
any
you-
movie.
Wait, Sam, would you want a Final Fantasy movie?
We
Final
got
Fantasy
one.
6.
Let's not talk about it.
Exactly.
But if we okay, hold on. I can spend a whole podcast talking about my dream Final Fantasy movie. So let's.
One day we'll have a conversation.
One day.
Spike, don't worry.
But it needs to be 2 hours, and I need everyone to just suffer with me. I don't think we'll ever get, or just in my opinion, a thrill ride, exciting, just a movie that every second I just want to go, yeah, like the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Martin Scorsese called them theme park movies, which I don't agree with, but like, fuck, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? Call it a theme park movie. I certainly have more fun with the first Avengers than a theme park.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That was a good
So
talk,
this
guys.
that
Yeah.
was.
I
I feel like we got across a lot of good points, and I can't wait for the next one.
I think I
PS5
can.
next one.
I thought you meant the next Avengers.
No. I mean the next podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for the next Avengers where they just kill all the old cast
Mm.
and we get like
In the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
let's just put
'Cause that's what movies
yeah.
do.
I don't know
Uh-huh.
who's hot new stars now.
Well, you know what? I will really be excited if they put Spider-Man like up front.
Yeah.
If they do
But
like
they're
a
not-
new Avengers, they're not going to do that.
I don't
It's-
think
no.
they're doing that just because of the whole Sony deal thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now our goal is to effectively write Spider-Man out.
Mhm.
Well, within the movies that he's allowed to be in, because
But you know what? I am fine with that because it's over for me. I have no more investment other than
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that's
I'll
but you
watch
know what?
them
That's
just for
why it's gonna
fun,
be-
but-
that's why it's going to be really cool to see what Sony does with Spider-Man.
yeah.
You know, because then he's going to be detached and they could make some
Yeah.
like really intense shit. You know, like I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, between the MCU version of Spider-Man, which I think is great, and the
Mhm.
PS4 version, which I think is the best Spider-Man we've gotten in a long time.
Phenomenal.
And Miles
Yeah.
Morales Spider-Man game, and
Yes.
then Miles Morales Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen. There is so
So
much
excited for
stuff to be
Spider-Gwen.
excited about when it comes to Spider people.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I know, I'm horrified.
mind-boggling.
like Into the Spider-Verse has been like some of the best, and the PS4 Spider-Man has been some of the best. Spider-Man
One day we
material
gotta have a
that I never thought we'd
podcast
get.
just-
Yeah, I think I
Called
suggested this
Spider-Man?
earlier.
Yeah,
we should just
about Spider-Man, we
all
should.
do Spider-Man,
Hell yeah.
Yes.
but not
All right.
before I get my 3.5-hour Final Fantasy movie podcast.
So I feel like, yeah, we should do Spider-Man podcast after Miles Morales game.
Yeah.
After
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
This has been a Digital Devils production.
Thank you so much for listening and or watching.
See you later.